Hey guys, what's going on? I am Salandia Hammond, aka Sue Ham Baby, and we are back with another coffee chat. It's early, it's 7:30 a.m., and we are glad to be here. And back with me for a second time is Susie Balda from Rehab Wallet. Susie, did I pronounce your last name right?
You did. You did. Perfect.
Because I'm always screwing up a name, and I don't do it intentionally, but
All good.
Awesome sauce. Welcome back. How are you this morning?
Thank you. Thank you, Sue, for having me. Always a pleasure to be able to do these with you. So I appreciate the opportunity. I'm doing great. It's going to be a fantastic day in Charlotte. I live in Charlotte.
You're in a beautiful city. Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. Well, listen, I'm going to ask you to take 2 minutes and tell people who you are while I share this broadcast. It's a really important broadcast because there are a lot of real estate investors out there who are first timers, and a lot of them can't get funding. And I am so excited to have you on this show today because Rehab Wallet has introduced an amazing program. But nonetheless, we will get into that. Anyone who's joining, I want to ask you right now to share the broadcast, share the broadcast. Tell us where you're watching from. And Susie, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself while I share the broadcast.
Yes. So Susie Balda, I'm a sales manager at Rehab Wallet. Been with them for about a year and a half now. Have a fantastic team with me that most certainly works with great investors. But yeah, I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Our company is based out of Charleston. I was actually born in Ecuador, South America, so I'm bilingual as well. So I do speak Spanish. Would love to support any Latinos or Hispanic in the audience that can reach out to me directly as well. But yeah.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish I had learned a second language, but I'm telling you, it just seems so extremely challenging. And I don't usually run from challenges, but there are two things that I just kind of like ran from. That's like reading music and learning a second language. So I suck.
Yeah, I most certainly don't know how to play an instrument. You do not want me singing, and I don't know how to read music either. So
Oh,
I think
now
it's a little bit easier when you have it in your surroundings. So being born in Ecuador, raised in Ecuador, I actually had to learn English as a second language. So
awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'll sing, but don't ask me to try to read music, which is crazy because my son who is 27, he started reading music and playing the clarinet in 7th grade, and he had never been exposed to it. So that's just amazing to me how you just pick it up one day and say, I want to play this instrument, read music, and become very, very good at playing an instrument that you've never been introduced to before. But nonetheless, Susie, tell us about Rehab Wallet. Anyone who has been following me over the last 4 years knows that I sing the praises of Rehab Wallet. You guys are phenomenal over there. I have used your services. I don't even know how many times, but it's just been a blessing in my life to be able to provide the funding for me to be able to buy these old fixer uppers and turn them into swans and offer them up to the market as rentals or selling the projects. But tell us a little bit about Rehab Wallet.
absolutely. So Rehab Wallet was created about 5 years ago. This summer will actually hit our 5-year anniversary. Pretty exciting milestone. We've done over 2,000 loans, which is also pretty exciting. But a little history about Rehab Wallet and how we got started. Kelly Garrett is one of our managing partners, and Kelly herself was doing fix and flips in Charleston for over 18 years. So she brings so much experience to the team, so much knowledge, so much great relationships that she has built over the years. After doing that for over 18 years, she decided to go into private lending and realized pretty quickly, because of her coaching, because of her network that she has built, that she was running out of funds pretty quickly. So she decided to partner with two other managing partners, Dan and Danny, one out of Columbia, one out of Charleston. And that's how Rehab Wallet was created. So our parent company raises the capital. We kind of put it out in the streets, for lack of a better word. And together we have added so much talent just in the last 6 months, where we've added key team members that can most certainly help support our borrowers and our investors in ways we really never imagined in the past. So that's kind of what brought us into, now being able to offer first time fix and flipper loans, because we have added so much talent to the team that we can really, without holding our borrowers' hands, we can really guide them in ways that we did not quite were able to do in the past. But yeah, really excited about what we can offer.
Awesome sauce. And that was going to be my next question, is why offer this program now? Because I know before in the past, Rehab Wallet only wanted to work with seasoned investors, having done 2 to 3 deals. And so when you guys came out with this new program, I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and a couple of things inspired that, right? We were working with a lot of investors that we knew, that we had built relationships, that we were sitting next to in meetings and REI meetings or masterminds. There was a lot of, who we knew, our neighbors or our business partners so close, and we wanted to expand a little bit more. But the constant kept coming back was, I want to get started. How do I get started, right? So again, hearing that from our borrowers, that they wanted to do business with Rehab Wallet, they wanted us to help them and guide them. And we were tired of turning them away, really. So, between Angela Dunn, who staffed our most of our team, and then Kelly, we decided, we're going to add the right team members and place them in key positions that we will really be able to support our new borrowers in different ways that we were not able to in the past. So now we've kind of bridged that gap a little bit, and we're able to run with this program. We've had a couple loans since we rolled it out just earlier this year, and excited to be able to, expand beyond.
Yes, I feel like Faith Franks. This is awesome. It is totally awesome. And I'm glad to hear that you guys have actually already done some loans. That's so dope. You guys are the easiest funding company I know to work with as it pertains to hard money lending. It is just amazing what you all do. So tell us about the program. Like, how much are you financing? Are you doing 100% of the rehab costs still? Break it down for me.
Absolutely. So you do have to have a little skin in the game, right? We are requiring a 20% down. So we do fund 80% of the purchase price. So it's not your total loan. It's just, 80% of the purchase price. And yes, we will fund 100% of the rehab. Now we've had team members in place that will really review the scope of work. They will review those itemized lines that our borrowers put into for the work that needs to be completed, and we'll give suggestions, maybe some questions or further questions that we will ask to make sure that we understand what they're wanting to do. But really, it's a different set of eyes that now we say, you know what, you might have missed something. Our borrowers often get so excited when they start completing the scope of work, and sometimes they miss the first line, like demolition, right? I didn't budget for that. Well, in order for you to start the bathroom or start the kitchen, you got to clear it out, right? So most certainly some of our team members that are in place now can provide that support and that extra set of eyes. But yes, we'll fund 80% of the purchase price, 100% of the rehab, not to exceed 65% of the loan to value. And that's key, because we want to make sure that this first deal that our borrowers do, they're going to come out winning, right? So if there's not enough margin on that first deal, if there's not an opportunity for you to really win at the time of purchase and win at the time of exit, regardless of what your exit strategy is, then we're going to give you that advice. And then we do fund ideally 9 months terms. And there's a reason behind that, right? I think our borrowers sometimes get excited to do their first deal. And they're like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to get out, I'm going to list it, and everything's going to be great. And then you run into situations, right?
Well, you run into stuff.
Yes, you run into things with your general contractor, or, Joey, who is going to do this, didn't quite fall through, or whatever the case is, right? You tear down this wall, or things happen. So we want to allow enough cushion. And that's why ideally we want to be able to do that 9 month, allow you some time to learn through the process, allow you some time to be flexible. If your tentative date to complete the project was X plus listing it, then, maybe it stayed on the market a little bit longer, days on the market today versus last year a little bit longer. So we want to allow some room for that. Now, there's still same terms, no prepaid penalty. So let's assume your first deal, you signed a 9 month, you were able to finish in 4, you listed it and it sold in 45, 50 days. Great. You exit the loan. No prepaid penalties with us.
Wow. So you said a lot. That's a lot to unpack. I think the biggest thing that I got from that was you really are serious about helping the first time investors succeed. I have never heard of funders, lenders who are there looking at the scope of work, giving their input, their advice, providing a consultation, so to speak, holding your hand a little bit. I've never heard of that. Someone doing that while giving you their money. That is
Yeah. And
crazy.
again, we do, the first time fix and flip program, we do require a 20% contingency for that rehab. So let's assume your rehab budget is, $50,000. We're going to add 10 for the what ifs, right? What if this happens, or what if that ends up being a little bit more? So we're going to add that built into the loan as well. But yes, we have team members that now review your scope of work, ask you questions, or boom, you'll get a fantastic email that says, this looks great. Let's get started, right? So again, we're not going to micromanage this, but you're going to have an extra set of eyes. And then we have other team members behind the scene. Our underwriting team does a fantastic job in making sure that we evaluate that property. We want to see your comps, right? We want to know that you've done your homework, that ARV is, you didn't just pull that from the air, right? And we're going to tell you that early on. We might ask for your comps to understand what you were looking at when you evaluated your property. That's critical, that ARV. But we have agents now, part of Rehab Wallet, that peek at that as well. That says we're a little off, and by like $50,000 off, or let's understand what we're trying to do here. Or it could be you're going to get a lot more value. You miss this or you miss that, and we can add this. So again, I think those team members that our team was able to add have most certainly allowed us to be able to support our investors in a different capacity than we have ever been able to do. And so far, it's going great.
Awesome sauce. I really love that. I really love that program, and I'm so thankful that you guys are doing that. I know you launched it in Charleston and Charlotte. Are those the only two cities that you will be in, or will you expand if you're
We
going to
will
expand?
expand. We've already done a couple loans in the upstate, most certainly probably anywhere South Carolina and Charlotte. I live in Charlotte, so I'll support it. And I'll explain a little bit behind the thought process in those markets and why we're staying pretty close to where a lot of our team members are, is because part of the program also requires us to visit visit the property and maybe be able to do the first draw or second draw in person. We want to know that the program is moving along. We want to know, and we have networks available, people within our network, that if you run into certain hiccups, you need to change your GC, you need A, B, or C, we might be able to connect you with the right person, and hopefully help you finish that project and connect that project a little bit differently, so that, again, we want you to exit successfully and do this over and over again, be able to scale.
That's what's up. So I know that the program is fairly new. So has anyone actually finished the program yet? Do you have any
Not
success?
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We just rolled it out 2.5 months ago.
Oh yeah.
So not yet. No one's exited out of the program yet. But we are staying close and without micromanaging, but staying close. And so far, so good. The progress is moving along.
Well, again, the fact that you're not micromanaging, but you're there as support is just amazing. And you're lending the money and you're lending your expertise. That's really, really, really amazing. Like I said, unheard of. And I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from the team at Rehab Wallet. That's how you guys are. You're out of the box thinkers. You're all about the investor's success as well as your success. So that's very important.
Absolutely. When our investors win, we win. We want to be able to create a relationship that is long lasting. We don't want to just do a loan with you and then you go somewhere else. We don't, we love to talk to our borrowers. My background prior to Rehab Wallet was in retail management and HR. So I created a onboarding program for our new borrowers, which I walk them through from beginning. You're looking at a property, you're looking to connect with Rehab Wallet to pay off. And I introduce them through a PowerPoint. It's a 30-minute kind of onboarding for our new borrowers where I walk them through the steps, who may potentially email you, who will ask what questions, what documents do we need, what does the draw process look like, right? You've already closed on the loan. Congratulations. You have access to the property, you're on site, and then you want to pull your first draw. What does that look like? What's the steps? What are the process? And, I think in the past, we've always provided instructions and we've always provided guidance. I think it's different when you're able to connect with someone face to face. So we do it via Teams and I walk you through the steps, at the leisure of that borrower's time, so that they fully understand. And then they get the deck, right? They get the PowerPoint sent to them so they can most certainly refresh back. One of the things that I'm so proud about our team is everybody answers a phone, everybody answers emails. So if a borrower has a question, if they need a quick response, send us an email, send us, a text or a call. We'll be able to get back to you. And that's hard to find in lenders overall, right? You'll send an email and within 24 hours, you'll get a response. Well, that's probably 22 hours too late. So I'm really proud of our team from originators to processors to the draw. We're pretty good in responding.
Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest complaints that I hear in the real estate world is that, and it comes from lenders and it comes from, it's about lenders and it's about realtors as well, is that communication sucks. People won't return emails, won't return calls, won't return texts. And when you're dealing with real estate, most times you gotta move quickly. I'm not saying live by the phone, die by the phone, but don't just purposely ignore people for 2 and 3 days. It's crazy. I just gotta say this. I've seen realtors post on social media that they're trying to get a hold of other realtors because they want to sell their property. They got people that are interested in it and they can't get them to return the calls. And I'm like, wow.
And the same thing with proof of funds. Once a borrower is approved with Rehab Wallet, we understand that you're going to make those deals and try to negotiate and visit properties and do the walkthroughs at night and on weekends. And you're going to need that proof of funds with you to be able to negotiate that best deal or get a jump start or go under contract. So we'll provide that for the team. We there's plenty of us in the origination side that can provide that for our borrowers.
And here's what I can tell you guys. This is not fluff. This is the real stuff because I've used them numerous times. So what are some mistakes that you see with first-time investors? Some typical mistakes and how can we avoid them?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I most certainly recommend that a first-time flipper, and we require it as part of our program, is that they do a home inspection. You don't want to close on a property and then realize or recognize there's foundation issues, or you don't know what's going to happen. So that's important. We most certainly recommend that. The 20% contingency in the rehab. That's critical as well. I think a lot of borrowers try to save as much money from the get-go on that rehab, but don't often prepare for the what ifs. And that's critical because once the loan is closed, we can't go back and say, well, you needed $12,000 extra for that rehab. So we want to build that in as well. And then get a partner. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Don't be afraid to reach out. A lot of our borrowers, maybe attend a lot of REI meetings, but feel like they've got all the tools under their belt to get started and sometimes fail to reach out. And I think it's always good to get a partner.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Absolutely. Knowledge is so important and actually getting out there and doing the thing is important, but don't just do it without having some knowledge. And I love the fact that believe it or not, you guys are a partner with this new program. So that's a great thing because a lot of people are afraid to step off the to get off the couch. That's what I like to say. They're afraid
Yeah,
to get
I
up.
think we call it oh, now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, you overanalyze a deal, you overanalyze your first steps, and then you just don't get started. And then you plan, you think, you put it as a goal. It's kind of one of your New Year resolution goals, and then 3 years later, you still quite haven't gotten that first deal. So yeah, I think you'll learn so much from every deal that you do, and we
Mhm,
just want to be a partner with that.
mhm. I agree. I think it's called what? Paralysis analysis. When
That's
we
it.
just
That's it. Paralysis analysis. Yes, you overanalyze.
Yeah, yeah. When all you need to do is just get off the couch. And so with this new program, I think it makes it easier for people to get off the couch because you're there to help guide them. And that's a beautiful thing. I wish I had that back in 2006 when I initially started. Good morning, Erica Shannon. If you guys have any questions, you can drop your questions here. We'll answer them live on the broadcast. If you're watching this on the replay, still drop your questions, and Susie and I will still answer them once we see them. Well, I guess you kind of gave us as a new investor the wisdom that we need to do. We see the first mistake. That's the mistakes they make is not getting an inspection done, not taking into account everything that they would need to put on that scope of work to be able to do the work, and then not having a contingency plan. Yeah, you're right. Because a lot of people, I'm all about that positive mindset, and a lot of times, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna work out. But the truth of the matter is, you need to have a contingency plan because when you're dealing with these, if you're dealing with the old houses like I like, you don't know what you're gonna find when you open up the guts. And by guts, I mean the walls. I mean like tearing up the floors. You don't know what's gonna be there. So definitely get inspections and have a contingency plan.
One thing
Um,
that I wanted to add too, that I think it's equally as critical once you complete your project and you're excited, you've completed your first fix and flip, is understanding that ARV and listing the
mm,
property right the first time. And that's critical because a lot of reasons. One, while you do want to make the most margin out of your deal, right? Don't put yourself in a position where you are listing a property and then 120 days later, that property's still on the market. I think a lot of
mhm,
borrowers overestimate sometimes or get a little happy with that ARV. They want to make a little bit more profit out of it. But then in turn, a buyer coming in, it's a freshly done fix and flip home, but they evaluate that. They look at the days on the market and they see, well, why is it on the market for 120 days, right? The first thing they sometimes think is, what's wrong with it?
mhm.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's a great property, but maybe it was just priced a little higher from the get-go. So understanding that ARV, understanding the neighborhood, knowing that 1 mile radius within your property, very critical from the beginning.
Oh man, those are some good points because I'll be very honest with you, very transparent. I fell victim to that. It was a little overpriced and it sat a little longer, and it was like, "Ugh." And then when you start going into the winter months, things starts to slow down
Mhm.
anyways. So if you're not prepared for that, it could become scary. So
Yeah,
great
and then
tip.
you add your holding costs to that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of spirals, and we do want to help our borrowers understand that that's important for them to do their comms and understand that ARV, and let's price it right from the get go. You finish your project, days on the market do matter.
Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you for dropping that. So, okay, now we've seen the red flags or things that we should watch out for, right? What are maybe 2 to 3 things that when you see a deal come in, you're like, oh my goodness, where do I sign? We want to give them the money right now. We want to get this project going. Give us something that would make you just, I don't know, Mary Poppins the deal.
Yeah, so we get excited when we feel that a borrower is looking at a property or perhaps under contract and they're going to win already at the time of purchase, right? So you want to make sure that you make your money on the property that you just purchased or went under contract. A lot of people call it buy a property that's on sale and not for sale, right? So don't just count on making your money at the tail end, even though that's good, but you got to make sure that you get a property that's correctly priced or underpriced a lot of times at the beginning. And then we get really excited, especially with first time fix and flippers, when the budget is reasonable. Talked to a borrower yesterday that said, my budget is probably going to be about $25,000. I'm like, great. That's going to be an easy in and out process that'll help you gain a little bit more experience, gain the momentum to be able to do project 2. I think when we cringe a little bit is when a new borrower says, I want to go into a multi-unit, right? And I want to do, 8 doors as my first project, or I have a rehab budget of $95,000. Or it's a house that has fire damage as a first project, probably a little bit more than we want our first time fix and flippers to be able to undertake. We want to teach them in the process of key things to look for. And some of those projects are probably more stage 3 or 4, right? So
yeah, which makes sense even for an experienced investor. I mean, those things could be a huge undertaking. So you definitely need to have your ducks in a row. Great advice. Thank you so much for that. All right. So I think we've pretty much covered just about everything. So someone's watching the show and they say, hey, I'm a great candidate. I'm ready to get started. What do they need to do to apply for funding?
rehabwallet.com. Click on that little button that says schedule a call. Either myself or my counterpart, Chris, will connect with that borrower right away. You have full access to our calendar, so be able to speak at your convenience. And we'll jump on a call. We'll understand what you're looking at. We'll tell you what we need to get you started. But really, as far as paperwork, there's one thing that we do for experienced investors, and we will continue to do that for first-time fix and flippers, and that's we will not pull credit. We'll never ask you for your Social Security. So whether you are working on rebuilding your credit and you're just so close and don't need anybody pulling your credit, or you have excellent credit and you love maintaining it and don't want anybody pulling it, either way, Rehab Wallet does not pull your credit. So schedule a call with us. We will get you started. Our pre-approval process is pretty simple, and it's all done internally. We can typically get back to a borrower within usually 8 to 12 hours.
Wow. That is the truth, guys. I have gotten approvals on the same day, and it's basically trying to get the attorney's office to keep up with them so that we can get. They're like, "How fast do you want to close?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, they have to do title work. Rehab Wallet, slow down." So-
yeah, and it's interesting you say that because we have amazing loan processors that really, I'll put them against anybody, but amazing loan processors. And between the 3 of them, yes, it is often that we are just waiting on closing firms to get us what we need to get you to the closing table. When a borrower tells us and they apply or they communicate to us, Susie, Chris, Anna, I want to close on X day. That's gold to us. We are going to do everything we can in our power to get you to that closing date. Doesn't matter what day it is. But yes, usually we're waiting on other stuff.
Yeah, it's not you guys, that's for sure. All right. So as we get ready to end the podcast, I have a question to ask you that has nothing to do with real estate. Just want to know, what book are you reading, or what book would you recommend that our audience reads or listen to?
So it's interesting you say that, because I'm not a big reader on a physical book, right? My attention span is not quite there. I used to be, but not as I got a little bit older. So now I found it so easy to do Audible. I'm always on the road attending REI events, and I get super pumped and inspired when I am listening to books on my way to or on my way from. And right now I'm actually reading a book called Money for Tomorrow by Whitney Elkin. And she is actually our director for passiveinvesting.com. And she's written this book, just released it earlier this year. And I am just fascinated. I'm only on chapter 3, but really, really find a lot of value. And I highly recommend it.
What's the author's name again?
Whitney Elkin.
Okay. I've got some serious credits on Audible because my car is also a university. And so I am definitely going to go download that today. Definitely today. Thank you for that tip. I I had another question pop up in my head, and I was just like, dang it, she was saying that. I was like, I got another question, and it left me just like that. So I'll probably drop it underneath the video for you later on for you to answer it. Susie, is there anything that you want to say or contribute before we end the podcast? Of course, we want you to tell people how to find you, how to connect with you. But is any lasting words that you'd like to say for today on this particular podcast?
Probably my biggest thing is don't get that analysis paralysis, right? If you're ready to make a deal, you're ready to get started, you want to understand how to take that first step, give us a call. Call us today. Go to rehabwallet.com, schedule a call at your convenience, at your calendar schedule, and we'll connect. Let's get started. Again, we have been successful for the last 5 years because of what Kelly Garrett has started and really build upon all of us. But there's a lot of team members within our umbrella that are just ready to help.
Awesome sauce, guys. I want to thank you for being here, joining us on Coffee Chats on Thursday mornings at 7:30 a.m. As you know, it's an informal conversation with a lot of essential information as it pertains to real estate, financial literacy, inspections, insurance, taxes, all of that good jazz that we need to survive in this business real estate world. Susie, I want to thank you for coming on. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I know it's early.
No, I love it. I'm up at 5:30 every day, so it's all good.
Okay.
But I am asleep by 9:30 though.
But it's so crazy by getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm sure that you can get so much more accomplished from 5:30 to 9:30 because most people are just getting started at 9:30. So maybe I'll adjust my schedule. But I thank you nonetheless for coming back on. You guys know how to get in contact with Susie. You can go to rehabwallet.com or you can give her a call. That's her phone number, 803-960-5742. You got a question, you're watching this. You can either reach out to Susie individually or you can leave it below the video. I want to ask you guys to please share the broadcast. Thank you for being a part of it, watching and sharing it. We do not take that lightly. So next Thursday, we got something great coming up for you. Make sure you join us again here on socials at 7:30 a.m. Susie, I'm going to let you go.
Thank you so much, Sue. I appreciate the opportunity. You guys take care.
All right. Oh, before we end the podcast, I am so sorry. You guys, veterans that are watching, if you are in need of some information on how to pursue the home loan process, I am asking you to go to loanswithsuham.com and download the free guide. Loanswithsuham.com, download the free guide, and there you have it. So, Susie, thank you so much. You guys be blessed. I'll see you next time.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.